Welcome to Weddings Unveiled, the podcast designed to help you build a productive, profitable wedding or event business. Here's your host, Angela Profit.
Hi, y'all. It's Angela Profit, your event and productivity therapist, coming to you from the heart of Music City in Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Weddings Unveiled, professional tips and secrets on wedding planning and event design, where we take you behind the scenes of our past experiences in the event industry, what we have learned from them, and how they have made us stronger. This podcast will help you grow a productive and profitable business to launch you into success within the hospitality industry. Today, I'm joined by the best communications and event consultant in the business, Alison Burry.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me, Angela. I'm excited to share some of our past experiences together. We have definitely been through some unique situations over the years. What are we discussing today?
Today, we are going to discuss making sure that you have the right clients from both sides, meaning both the bride and the groom understand your process, or both parties in the relationship understand your process.
Well, tell us the story. What happened?
Well, I have a couple stories to share with you. So the first one is we had met with a new bride who was sweet as pie. She was super sweet, so delightful, and we hit it off. She hired us on the spot immediately, and then we got started. They were an out-of-town couple, and I remember her telling me that the groom was not in town much, but she wanted him to be involved, that he definitely had an opinion. And so I remember having a phone call with the bride and the groom to talk about next steps and how we were going to move forward and how to really, I was just outlining the process of how we work and that we've been doing it for many years like this. And again, I know that it works. It's the most efficient. And everyone in the company has different roles. And so I was explaining to them about the design day and how I work with the couples directly. And then once we have a logistical plan, a floor plan, and vendor quotes in place, Alison takes over from there and manages the day-to-day questions and the details between the vendors and getting all of the retainers and the deposits paid. And he really didn't like that. He didn't like that, I didn't do everything. And, I told him I know how to do everything. I did everything by myself for a good 7 years, but that's not how my company works these days. We take our strengths and focus on our strengths, and I hire other people to assist me and help me who are much better at the things that I'm not great at. And he was a little disrespectful over the phone. You could tell he had an aggressive type of behavior. But I felt like we ended the phone call on the same page, and he understood the process. So we started emailing back and forth, or they started emailing back and forth with Alison for dates to figure out when we were going to meet. And he kept calling me and leaving me voicemails and telling me that he wanted to talk to me directly, after I had specifically told him that I spend my time very productively and I schedule my phone calls. I'm in a lot of meetings, and if he needed to reach me immediately, to definitely, shoot me a text if there was an emergency, or call Alison, and, she'll get to me as soon as she can. But I'm not going to disrupt another meeting with another client, because when I'm with clients, I'm 100% focused on that event and that wedding. And there's just a lot of multitasking going on, so I definitely don't want to focus on a different client when I'm with another client. It doesn't work that way. And so finally, about 2 or so weeks after going back and forth, he left me another rude message and another email, just again, being very aggressive, telling me that he only wanted to deal with me. And so after consulting with my business advisory board and a couple of my team members, I just decided that it was best to refund his money and tell them that it would be best for them to find someone else to plan their wedding. And it broke my heart because I love the bride. She was a sweet, precious little girl. And I can't even believe that she would marry somewhat of a jerk like that, in my opinion. But he was sharing with me that because of his background in the military, he thinks things fall through the cracks when one person's not handling it. And even though I tried to educate him on our process, he still didn't really take very well to that. So, I mean, I sent it to Alison and said, do you have any recommendations? Like, I don't know if you've had any dealings with this guy yet, but it looks like we're starting off on the wrong foot. I mean, Alison, did you have any takeaways from that?
Well, I kind of, after seeing his email and hearing the voicemails that he was leaving, I think we both agreed that it wasn't a great fit as far as planning goes, just because he was so rude and so hateful towards me and my job, and I was just like, sorry, that's what I do, trust me, things don't fall through the cracks, that's how we work and how we operate, and we've been doing it well for years, and so if he doesn't like it, then he can find someone else to take care of him who will have one person focused on him, but that's not how we do things.
Right. So that was an unfortunate situation. But again, if you ever have this gut feeling that it's just not starting off on a good foot, I'll just tell you, no amount of money is worth being miserable for the next 12 to 15 months planning an event. And then one other time, I met with a sweet bride and her mom and her grandma, and I thought we had a great meeting. I actually spent a little bit more time with them than I normally would because it was my last meeting of the day. And they had a lot of questions, and I wanted to make sure that I thoroughly answered them so that they would feel, they would leave the office feeling very educated. And I mean, I got no negative vibes whatsoever. And so the next day, I got an email from the mother of actually it was the mother of the groom who was paying for the wedding. It wasn't the mother of the bride. I think her grandmother was there, but I got an email from her telling me how I was very disrespectful of their time, that I kept them too long, and I made them late for their dinner reservations, which they never told me that they had reservations, which I guess I should have asked. And she told me that they were there for a long period of time. I never offered them water, milk, cookies, no snacks, nothing. And she just thought that the environment was extremely sterile. And I mean, her email just went on and on, like lashing at me. And it was just so incredibly rude. So I didn't respond for a good few days, I think, because just having a degree in psychology, I knew that there was something major going on with this woman, and I was not the problem. My hunch told me that she has one child. It's her only child, and he's getting married, and she's somewhat bitter about it instead of happy about it. So I believe 2 or so days went by before I decided to respond. And within that time, the bride emailed me and said, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. All the information was wonderful. I cannot wait to start working with you." And I think their wedding was like 18 months out. I mean, it was a long time out from when we met. And I mean, I had to really get the guts up to email her back and say, "I'm sorry. I think that it's best if you find someone else." But before I even responded to her, I responded back to the mother of the groom, and I said, "I am very sorry that you feel that way. There are a lot of clients out there who would have appreciated the education and the feedback that I shared with them and the honesty. And if you all had told me that you had dinner plans, I, of course, would have kept it to 1 hour exactly. I think it's best that you all continue to interview other planners, and I wish you the best of luck." I always try to keep it to 5 sentences or less and keep the emotions out of it. It's just not worth it. And then the next day I get an email back from her that was, oh my God, so long. And basically, she was telling me how her husband was killed in a motorcycle accident recently, and she was suffering from depression, and she was upset because the son was getting married, and this girl was taking her place, and blah, 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 blah. So again, I knew something way bigger than me was going on under deep down. And then she apologized for being rude to me and disrespectful and taking it out on me. And she said, please accept a check. We want to move forward in hiring you. And there was just something in me, again, going with my gut, that I wasn't going to work with these people. I mean, she was on an emotional roller coaster, and I felt like I would be more of a therapist than a planner throughout the entire experience, and I did not need that for the next 18 months. And so I thought long and hard about it before I emailed the bride, but I emailed the mother back, and I said, again, I think it's best if you move forward and looking for someone else to hire. And then the bride emailed me back, and she said, why won't you work with us? And I said, I think it's best if you talk with your future mother-in-law about this. And I bowed out, and they emailed a few more times. But at that point, I think they got the picture that I was not going to service them or put up with the attitude. So that's another unfortunate story where, thank God, I had some experience in working with people that are just, it's miserable. And if you can't focus on planning and being happy, then it's not really that much of an honor to plan an event.
Yeah, well, those are both some very unique and very different experiences. But what was your biggest takeaway from each of those and everything that has happened?
My biggest takeaway is don't be afraid to communicate to the client, that you just don't think that you're a good fit. I think in the long run, people will appreciate the honesty.
Awesome. And can you share with our listeners some of the different products and resources available to help wedding and event planners?
Of course, you can visit our blog on angelaprofit.com, and on the website, there's always great articles and resources available there. You can also sign up for email tips and resources that we only share with our email list. And we also have great webinars with a variety of subjects on how to help you in your business. We also have several live events coming up next year, so be sure to watch social media for information on those.
Great. Well, Angela, thank you so much for sharing your valuable advice with us today. I can't wait for next week to tell more of our incredible experiences together.
Thank you for joining me, Allison, and thank you so much for listening today and for joining us on Weddings Unveiled, professional tips and secrets on wedding planning and event design. Tune in next week to learn more from our past experiences. If you found this podcast helpful, please share it with other wedding and event professionals. Be sure to subscribe today so you never miss the juicy details of Weddings Unveiled. I'm so passionate about helping other event professionals with my background in psychology, and I appreciate that our best selves develop from real-life situations like we are sharing in these podcasts. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for more great tips to grow your business. If you have a question or unresolved issues that you would like guidance on, connect with us at angelaprofit.com. Until next time, remember to stay productive and profitable.
You've been listening to Weddings Unveiled with Angela Profit. Join us next time for more insights to help you build a productive, profitable wedding or event business. For more great resources, head over to angelaprofit.com.